Welcome back to another drawing session with the Raven. I'm your host, me. So, I realized yesterday when I was in my tired stupor, I actually drew page 23 before page 22. So, about that. So I'm switching up a little bit because I kind of drew ahead of myself and then I kind of pigeonholed myself into a specific idea. It's okay though. What I'm gonna do, this was supposed to be like, say, the fall passing, and this could be like the summer months or something. As time goes on, she's still missing. Now that I'm thinking about it. So this originally was going to be, I don't really know why it keeps doing that. So I had this frame 2 here. Oh, that's why. It's because it's making it so that the frame doesn't show up on the other one. Okay, so what I had originally done was there was supposed to be like a similar street view to this in a different location. So this would be like out front of her house, maybe, this top panel, and then this down here with the discussing. Time's maybe gone on for a while because there won't be leaves on the ground. This would be more like a summer months. Over here, this was going to be like turning fall. If you're following what I'm saying, because I know that's probably hard to follow. I'm trying to show time passing without having to say it. And so, interestingly enough, one of my favorite films of all time, Shawshank Redemption, the Shawshank Redemption, they actually have time pass based on how their uniforms and stuff look. And also how their hairstyles are and stuff, the kind of people that come in to the prison and stuff. It's pretty cool, actually. And I never really noticed, I guess, when I was younger. And something I was watching pointed that out, and I was like, I suppose they did. So I have to draw frame 1 underneath frame 2, so that frame 2, where the close-up of the poster, can sit on top. I wanted to do that instead of having like the gutter, you know, and separating it, because it's meant to be like a sub panel, kind of like a zoomed in. Sometimes what they'll do is they'll have like a zoomed in effect, and you'll have these triangles, just triangulation pulling into where it is. I was kind of going for that without having to draw that necessarily. So I'm gonna have, maybe I could actually have a person putting up the flyer. Again, this is going to be kind of silhouetted. There's going to be people, if that's a word, there's going to be people walking, kind of doing their own thing. Yeah, see, it's supposed to be a street lamp. I actually wrote that there. So this missing person flyer is the same one that's going to be there on the neighborhood ground. I'm just going to do it where, let me lock this so I don't draw on it. I'm going to do it where this missing photo is the same as this one, but it's going to be not skewed. It's going to be very, very clean looking. And had I thought about that, I would have drawn that first and then skewed it, but that's okay. I'll just adjust it as I need to. I'll copy this one here, and bring it over to this frame, and then adjust it as I need. So first I'm going to draw that street lamp kind of thing. That's like this here, with a much more exaggerated cylinder bottom, and maybe even slightly skewed, because it's going to be like a bird's eye view. Don't know if I'm going to skew it, but nonetheless, it's going to be somewhere in here. I know what I'm drawing, so I'm going to turn that off. Okay. And then I'm just going to go to town. Okay, so it did. There we go. I don't know what happened there, but all right. I must have moved it when I was talking. So, going to do just like a lamp here. That post, the same thing, but much more exaggerated. And the grass will be kind of deadened back, because it is, well, it's winter or fall. And it doesn't have to be that same street, so I'm not as concerned about that. But I'm going to do something like this. Ginger might be out there yelling. I can get him if you need me to. Yeah, I know. That's what I was saying. Okay. So that's much more the angle I wanted. I wanted much more dramatic looking angle. Even more so than that, maybe, but I think this is going to work. It kind of gets the idea what I was going for. Yeah, a bird's eye view. You know, I realized the pun there. It's not lost on me, I swear. And then there's going to be a sidewalk here same thing. This is like a nice little neighborhood that has sidewalks. You know, they care about their community. Wait, those are too big. All right, and then we can do some silhouettes of some people. And for this, I'm actually going to have leaves on the ground because I think that will give the impression that is, in fact, the fall, which, just to give you an idea that the time has passed, again, doing that Shawshank type thing, I pull ideas from all kinds of stuff, all kinds of storytelling and stuff. So that is where I get it from. So for this, I'm just going to see if we can... He already just ate a whole bunch of dry food. Man, what a little turd. Okay. All right, cool. There's that. And maybe a little more because... Oh, I suppose I need some up there too. Like I said, I'm going to come back and do this again. This is just a filler for now. And I need to do a... Let's see... Oh, leaves. We need leaves. So they seemed as if they fell to the ground, yes. There won't be any grass, it's mostly dirt, and then it's going to be leaves on the ground. I should have done the ground and black, but I'll do it again. Whatever. I can also just change the color to black later. Let's see. Those aren't very big. I wanted to do fallen leaves. I know that there's some on here, isn't there? Oh, right here. Yeah. I'm trying to see which way this goes so you can... There you go. You can still see them and see the texture in them. So we're going to do like leaves falling on the ground. They look like petals like that. Okay, so this increasing the brush size for this brush is not increasing the petals themselves. It's only increasing the width of which... Whoa, that's crazy. It's increasing the width of which they're being laid down, but not the actual leaf sizes themselves, which is kind of counterintuitive. I mean, that's kind of goofy because, like, if you needed different size brushes, you would think it's not working like you would imagine it to. Huh. Yeah, see, like the thickness, you can change the size of the brush there. Well, luckily from this distance it works fine, but you know, you may not want it to be that way. Leaves on the ground, sort of everywhere. If you've ever lived anywhere where there's leaves falling on the ground, they get everywhere. So this guy should be black. So what I'm going to do, actually, I think, is merge these two together. You can change the color by going into tonal correction and changing hue saturation and changing saturation down and luminosity down. And you can also change the contrast, I believe. But see how let's get that old school look. That's what I was going for. And that'll do just fine, pig. That'll do. That'll do. And also I need to Add a couple more layers of leaves here. So let's do 170. Yeah, there we go. See, it's all bunched up around here. One thing I used to do when I was a kid was not like, I wouldn't draw through like this and then just erase back because I didn't want to do that, I guess. And it would just actually not save time. It actually causes me to do more work. So it's better to just draw through. The leaves bunch up on the curve here. You know, so it looks like around fall time. That works for me. And this is the road back here. And so for the road, I like to use like the cracks in the road because no matter where you live, it happens. All right, so let's do something like this. That's not big enough. Yeah, those are huge. So with winter and all that kind of stuff, you're going to get cracks in the road, right? So stuff that gets patched up, potholes and stuff. But that'll work. Just so you get a sense that this is a road. At least hopefully that's what you see. And I can also darken this road and give it like a gray tone. I'm going to do all that later, but for now, I'll leave it that way. I can airbrush it or whatever, but see where I go down there later. See, that creates that effect that the pole is sitting in front and not that it's being drawn up to it. That's kind of what I was going for. All right, then. So I hadn't done this page. Like I said, I was kind of being a goober. So for this, I'm just going to give, this is the same poster here as here. So what I'm going to do is copy this poster. I'm going to fix it. I'm going to put it in here. And then I'm going to use this to stick it to this post. And I'm also going to make a couple of silhouettes, and I should be done. Let's try, shall we? That sounds like a lot more than it actually is. So let's get hit. Let's try it. I'll just get the basic idea of the outline. I'm going to copy this. I'm going to bring it over to lock this layer for now so I don't actually draw on it. I'm going to put it on here. Unlock. Ginger is yelling yet again. I'm going to have to, I guess I'm going to have to let him out into the garage. All right. Okay, so for this poster, yeah, I'm just gonna tighten up the outer side of her poster, and I think that's gonna be good. I'm just gonna square it up first. Poster's still not gonna be perfectly straight, but it won't be all beat up. This way it looks a little bit more like it was just put up. Did you go outside? Yeah, he didn't want to go out. He wanted to stay in earlier. Ah, yes, the joys of owning an orange cat. So for this is torn. I need to fix this. And I'll fix the hatching too. And let's clean this up a little bit. Had I done this initially, I wouldn't be having to do this now, but that's okay. I want it to look real kind of fresh looking for the most part. You know, it's still going to look like it's outside. But all these tears down here, this worn out look to it, I need to get rid of. I now have Whiskey Myers band stuck in my head. They're a great band. I listen to all kinds of music. If you don't know, you cannot tell. I listen to a lot of, people who say, I listen to everything. I actually listen to everything. Like from classical, jazz, R&B, hip hop, rock, metal, country. It does not matter to me. As long as if I like the artist or like the song. I've listened to like house stuff and I just don't care. If it's a good song, it's a good song. Well, as one's told, well, it's because you're a musician, of course. Like, I guess. I know plenty of musicians that are stuck on their, they only listen to the same stuff. Yes, see, this poster isn't look as worn, but it still looks organic. At least that's the idea. And then this missing here with her button. I'm going to leave her button sitting here if I can. Because it makes sense, obviously, that this is still going to say the same words. Or in relatively the same location, but not as beat up. So this tear will go away. And the missing, I'm going to leave the S thing there because I'm going to overwrite it. Draw over it. Okay, then. Yes. Oops. Yeah, she also has a tear up here at the top of her poster, so I'm going to get rid of this. And now I'm going to do my best to clean it up with hatching. Let's try it out. And I'm using the effects hatch. I'm not doing it by hand. Because hatching can be very, very time consuming. I love it, but I do really enjoy doing it. But, the right one. Yeah, that has to be it. I do enjoy doing it, but it takes a lot of time. I had scaled this up, I think, and that's what the problem is. Yeah, that'll work. And I'll just cut off what I don't need. Let's just tighten this up a little bit. For a lot of this, I actually don't have to go back and ink it. I can just use the pencil look because it looks clean. I mean, that looks clean to me. But anything that has overdrawn lines, stuff like this, I have to clean up. So, I mean, like here with her hair and stuff, but some of it's clean. So I can use that as sort of a starting point and not have to spend as much time inking. But that is later. Oh, I have to do the hatch up here. These hatch brushes are really, really cool. See, that's hard to even tell that it wasn't supposed to be like that. And that's what I wanted. Whatever can save you time doing this stuff, man. Like I said, power to you if you want to do it all yourself. Nothing wrong with that. I try to save as much time as possible. I'm going to have to use a select layer. That's just too much overlap. So this way the hatch looks like it's not as worn. Sort of a background of like an image that she had done. That's like I was saying, maybe it was like a glamour shot or something that she got done. And that's what they're using for her picture. Sometimes people, they use like school photos and stuff, like whatever they have most of the time. They try to get the most recent picture, but if she lives alone and people don't really know her, they probably just looked at her stuff and found this. Now I'm going to try to line up the S with this, and I don't know why I didn't just make it black like when I did the other one, but that's fine. So I'm going to lock this down. I always forget that it creates a second layer. Oops. That is the wrong font. I think this is... Yeah, that's the right font. I'm just going to scale this up so it kind of sits where that S is. Now I know that S is kind of skewed, but I'm just trying to get it over top of it so I don't have to draw over it as much. Yeah. That'll do. I'm going to erase this. Like I said, it's a little bit less to have to work around. Cool. And this is her button here, so not a big deal. Okay, cool. I think that's pretty good. I think actually one more thing. I should actually extend this out because her shoulder kind of cuts off here because it's supposed to be the edge of the poster, but I want the poster to be a little bit more clean on this side. Oops. There we go. That'll do. That'll do. Now, there is some cross-hatching. Now, it'll keep... The only problem with crosshatch in here is it's going to keep doing... It's going to... Well, crosshatch, it's going to bounce back and forth so that it gives that effect. And I really want straight lines, kind of. For the telephone pole, it's going to be made of wood, so I'm just going to do it like this. There's that. Obviously, the missing is very strong and probably a little bit too straight even on this new version of this poster. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to skew this just a little tiny bit. Actually, I'll do it with the bubble tool. Where's the liquify thing? Gotta rasterize this real quick. You can't do it to text, it has to be rasterized. And it's gotta be big. So that one's too much. Yeah, something like this. So see, it's just moving it so that it kind of matches the flow of this paper and it doesn't look as perfect. And that looks like it matches a little better. Okay. That is that. And then now that now that I have this missing poster, actually what I need to do, I forgot. I already forgot. I have to do the texture for the back. So we're just gonna do kind of, you know, it's wood, so it looks sort of like that. Anywhere there is a gap or transparency, you're going to see this wood line behind it, and I don't want that. That kind of works, and I think actually lock this, reopen this. I'm going to actually put just a little bit more darkness. Oh, oops, not that much. Just like it's starting to peel up. Just a little shading on here. You know, the wind's blowing or something like that. Gives it a little bit of depth. And then underneath this, okay, here. Sort of a scattered looking wood texture kind of thing. That was my brother being crazy. He's eating burritos on his D. I forgot the top. No. All right, we got to do the same thing for the top. Yes. Good. I'm gonna lock this one. Okay. I just got one more I'd like to do because this looks a little off here. I'm gonna do a little bit of peel up on this one. In that corner. Okay, I believe you. Okay, that's good. The telephone pole here needs some shading, but I will get back to that when I ink it. I'm not too stressed about it right now. I say that, but I'm probably gonna forget if I don't. I'm gonna shade it one side. Actually, you know what? Because I got to throw her picture on there first. So let me do that real fast. Getting ahead of myself. So I'm gonna lock all of these, and now her poster here. I only really need the poster portion, and so that's the missing, her drawing. Yeah, just these two, I believe. So I'm going to copy those. I'll paste those down into here. Just locking, like I said, lock layers as I go, otherwise I'm going to make mistakes. So I'm going to merge these two together because I don't need the layers separated for this. Because I'm going to move this over here. I'll scale it way down so it fits on the front of this. All right. And when people are walking by the pole, they're going to see it. At least that's the idea. So we're going to go like this. Somewhere around here. All right, so she's kind of like nailed her picture's nailed to the post. Helps to actually use words. Okay. So now that that's there, what I'm going to use is that liquefy again. I'm going to try to see if I can bulge it out to kind of create the effect that it's on a curved, not surface, but, well, yeah, on a curved surface. That's actually what I am trying to say. See, that smudge is quite a bit, so you have to, yeah. On a big brush. So, yeah, I kind of want it to do that, but I don't want to squash it that much. This is much easier to do in Adobe. Let's do this. You're fine. All right. Yeah. I think that accidentally worked. It kind of works. I'd like to really just be able to pinch the size and bend it with a curve. I'm not honestly not sure if you can do that in here without using one of these. I think that works. I'm just going to use it like that. It's fine. It's meant to be on a pole, so, you know, it is what it is. It's not going to be perfect. However, I want it to look clean. And that's about, like, say... Oh, you know, I just realized I don't have it in the right angle. Tisk. Okay. So it's going to have to be much more exaggerated than I have it. And then these, what's funny about this is a goofy little detail, but these little nails here would actually have to be coming this way. I'm just going to smudge them out. Where's it at? It should be going into the tree that way. Not tree. The telephone bowl. Where is the blend? Yes. Now I want a texture blender because that looks terrible. I want to keep some of that texture in there. There we go. And then on this side, I'll blend this out too. And then, so then if you do see the nail, it is going to be like that. It would be more like that. And then this, the same thing. Just trying to tighten up these nails a bit, even at this angle. So you would have it going through the paper and sort of like that. Oh, getting in trouble. So that should do. That's kind of what I wanted to do. And you can kind of see, like, she's missing, and then the next you're going to see it's been a while. That's what I was going for. Hopefully that gets across here. I do need to do some silhouettes of some people. Very simply walking. I'm going to do, I don't know, maybe one or two people just kind of minding their business, not paying no attention to the sign, really. And then, unfortunately, that does happen. And so I'm just going to use black. black on this one. I'm going to go right around, say, this side of the pole. And I'm just going to jet black it out. Not sure why. Oh, I see. Oh, close the gap. It's fine. I'm just going to move this down to the next layer. Yeah. I'm gonna move this down here. I'm going to unlock this. I'm going to merge these together. That way, it's less likely to do that goofy. There we go. Goofy kind of look to it. Okay. So I should be able to erase the bottom of this now. Nah, we'll just blend it out. I didn't realize I had those on the same layer, so make sure you pay attention to your layers, man. Do what I do. I'm just going to have to erase these. These are too much. La, 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 la. I know I could rotate the canvas, but I'm just like, I don't know. I'm in a groove. Oh no. Yeah, we'll just do it that way. I do like maybe a 12. Okay. All right then. Well, okay, there's still some of this crap up here, but that's fine. I'll just fix it. It doesn't have to be exactly straight up and down, because the texture of the lighting pole or light pole or whatever it is not going to be perfect. So she's still a little bit, her posts are still a little flat. It's making this look flat. What am I going to do? What am I going to do? I'm not giving in. I'm not taking it into Adobe. Not doing that. Okay. I'm going to figure this out in here. See, this kind of wants to bulge. That's hilarious. Yeah, bulge it out a little bit. What about? All right, I'm going to put her back on a separate layer so I can just adjust it. Let's try that. Yeah, that's more or less what I'm thinking, but the wrong way. Yeah, see how it's starting to dig into the top up here? That's more what I was thinking. Kind of counterintuitively, you have to go opposite direction. There we go. That kind of makes it look more like it's curved, I think. And then, of course, to create more of that curvature, I can add more lines to this. So let me do that real fast. Just here. Yeah. Yeah, something like that. And then on the front side of the pole, just so that creates more of a texture look, um, or a shaded look, I'm going to try to use my pen. Yeah. To give it like a wood-like effect. It's not perfect. My undo button is in a different position than it used to be, and I'm still stuck on doing it that way. I just haven't fixed it in here. And then for this, as it gets closer to the picture, I'm just going to go ahead and draw through it. Hang on. And then I'm just going to erase behind the poster. And then, of course, I got to fix this little nail on this side. It doesn't look right. Where's it at? I know it can be kind of a pain in the ass to have to constantly lock the layers like that, but I'm telling you, it saves me time because I've done it where I didn't do that. And I had to go back and fix a whole bunch of crap. So that's why I do that. Yeah, see how these lines are starting to look a little... I don't love them. So what I'm going to do is actually... I should have done this in the first place. Is for only to editing layer. Okay. And then go back over here and draw the line straight through. This is a much easier approach. I don't know why I wasn't doing it, because I'm a dork sometimes. But you just kind of... draws your eyes into that activity anyway. It's meant to be subtle, like, and then you're gonna see. If I wanted to, I could do like a triangle that passes. It kind of goes here, like when they do that in anatomy books and stuff. They'll tend to highlight a specific portion to say, like, here's a cross section of that muscle or something like that. And I just don't feel like that's necessary. I think you get the point. And then I just need to do a silhouette. And then this panel is done. And then I'm on to the last page, and I go back and ink everything, shade everything. And that should take, I don't know, it might take a couple weeks. I'm not really sure. So my wife and I work for ourselves, and my work is kind of all over the place. I never know what I'm doing from day to day. Let me see. I do for a little while. I'll know. Like, I'll have a client for a few days, and then I won't have anything for a couple weeks, and then a few days, a couple weeks. Then I help her do her stuff, and it's kind of crazy, really. Where's yeah, I don't recommend freelancing for anyone who feels they want a steady, comfortable income. Personally, nothing wrong with freelancing. I mean, I like it. If you want steady, like, I want to be able to go out on the weekend and not have to worry about anything until Monday, like I used to do in school, don't freelance. Okay, that's going to have to do. Now, I can I just leave in them blue here. I can easily change it. I'm going to just do the silhouettes pretty quickly. I'm only going to have like maybe a person here and maybe a person here, just kind of passing by like nonchalantly, nothing happening. And then time's going to go on and those people are going to be talking about her. Like, did anybody ever figure out what's going on with her? That is the idea anyway. We'll see how it turns out. So let's draw a guy. I'm just going to use black this time. I usually use the blue, but that's for adding detail and things like that and experimenting with stuff. This is going to be a silhouette, so like I did last time, really I should have just made it black. It would have made more sense. But it also helps me to see what I'm drawing against in the background here. Let me see if I can... Yeah, 30 will work. Okay. So we're going to have a person there. I can move them around. Not a big deal. Actually, I am going to have to kill this background because it's a little too much. So I'm going to start with their head. I'm going to do, you know, I still want to position everything. I still want to do the method and things just so I know basically where the jawline would be. So I'm not drawing silhouettes that don't make sense. So there's kind of mid-walk, let's say, elbowy. This is lazy because, again, silhouette. But I should get the point across. That's the idea. I don't love the way that looks. Let's do the footy foot coming off the ground a little bit. Here's a little top side big. I don't know what I'm doing there. Let me just fix that real quick. Getting a little too lazy with my drawing because it's meant to be a silhouette. So can't be that lazy, but that's crazy. Hey, a kid. Sort of like mid-walk. Instead of jogging or something, I don't know. I'm just winging it. I was trying to think of them having clothes on, so you're not necessarily going to see all this. But I just did that for placement's sake. Control Alt. That didn't work. I got to do Magic Wand tool. Yeah, so that's close enough, and then I can just kind of work it from there. I guess it's kind of like jogging. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it makes sense, maybe it doesn't. What do I know? I just don't see much point in putting that much effort into something that you're not going to see. I just wanted to get it close to... This heel here just needs to come in a little bit, I think. And also from this angle, I think this foot is a little... Honestly, I think it's a little much. There we go. We'll have this one on the ground. He's just kind of like starting to lift his leg up. Swinging his arm back and his other arm forward. He's starting to move. So his right leg is up. His right hand's starting to come back. His left hand's starting to go forward. I think that makes sense. Especially against that background, I think that's cool. And then we'll have a person coming from this way. And I think that's probably going to do it. I think people aren't really concerned necessarily that she's gone. I mean, I think they should be, but what do I know? So that's an eraser. Not going to be able to draw that. So they're coming this way. Okay, they're walking sort of like this. And I just kind of get like I estimate, I don't really think about exactly how big their body is compared to the head. I just think of it as like a couple or a half. I think it's 2.5 or something. I think it's like 8 heads tall or something. I don't remember. I just kind of, it also depends on the angle you're at. So I kind of look at it and see if it makes sense to my brain. And if it does, go with it. Ain't that right, baby doll? So if his front hand is forward like that, you can't see it. So why go through the trouble? And his knee is up. He's lifting it up. What's interesting is your sartorius muscle is the only muscle, if I remember correct, that is responsible for lifting your leg. And if you injure it, you're not lifting your leg. Like lifting your knee up. It's pretty trippy. Oops. Yeah, sometimes I do the Spider-Man feet, and sometimes I do sometimes I'll draw the foot like the heel, and then of course the front side, like almost like an upside down exclamation point, and then just connect the two together, and you'll get like a generalized heel that's looking at it from the bottom. And if you do the same thing for the side, just kind of circle, triangle, the arch, the foot kind of comes up above that, like silhouette style, I'm saying. You get the basic idea of what it looks like this. It's like a foot. Tool my brain. What do I know? And also, you have to think about if the foot is, if you're looking at it from the front, if it's pushing off of the ground, your heel will be up over here. Sort of like that. Just depends on what you're doing. Let's see. So in this case, let's say his foot is pushing off the ground. His hair, here, this knee is up in the air. That's what I'm going for. And so and his leg's kind of short. His torso's kind of, well, no, I think his torso's okay. They just did his legs kind of short. It's easier to do when you can see the whole thing at once, but I was just kind of... I know you can't see his hand. Doesn't make sense, but it's because you're not going to see his hand. So we're just going to leave it like that. I'll still edit it real quick and see if it works, and if not, I'll just adjust it. It's actually kind of harder to draw just the silhouette, thinking about it, but that's okay, though. Might be that his body's a little small for this angle. Let's pull his whole shebang. That's a little better. Just realize he's selected down here. I don't need him. Yes. It's because his nose and stuff, his ear, like where his head would be. If I kind of, yeah. Let me, because I'm trying to use the guide instead of drawing it, and that's kind of creating a problem. I think that's going to work. The other thing for this is this guy. I keep wanting to do that. This guy here, I still think his silhouette isn't quite right. So it's his jaw, maybe. I'm not really sure what I don't like about it. There's a zygomatic arch, let's say. There's the line. This would be his eyes, right? His nose will come in and out. His mouth would be here, basically. It might be he's got like an alien head going on too much. So your eye tends to come in a little. Like right here on the edge of your eye, where your socket is, kind of comes in a little bit, and then the arch comes out. Something like that. And then in silhouette form, you can see it very, very obviously, like I've been showing you. Like I said, I'm just talking through my process. Why I'm doing what I'm doing. Yeah, I mean, that's just how he looks, I guess. He's fine. Yeah, screw it. I think I'm overthinking it. So just going to add some more. And if you don't want it to be this pointy, which I don't really, you can round it out a little bit. And then just pull in the heel, the blade of the foot, and then the heel side. The thing is, it's at the bottom of his legs are a little, the bottom where his legs are a little small. So I'm going to extend it out a little bit more. So the town's kind of hush-hush. Not sure who they can trust or whatever. There we go. Now he looks better. This is a little gigantic for this from the angle it's at, so I will pull that down a little bit. And then the back of his head should be down a little more. A little tall on the top here. Unless he has like a massive amount of hair. He could. Who am I to judge? Maybe he has a lot of hair. I just want to move him over a little bit too. Yeah, there's people just passing on the street. Going about their business, just doing their thing. Kind of cool, right? I think. Maybe, you know what? I can. I'm just nitpicking, but I think it'll look cleaner if I do this. Looks like he's got his hands sort of in his pockets or something. It's kind of chilling. They kind of look like they're about to talk to each other. I might switch these just so they don't look like they're talking to each other. Because it looks like he's about to come up to him and talk to him like, what's up? Although, yeah, we'll just make it so they're opposite of each other. You're fine. I'll make it so they're opposite of each other. Paste him on a separate layer and just pull this guy down. And pull this guy up. Like that. I gotta adjust their sizes now because this one's closer. So he looks like a child and he looks like a monster. So I guess it didn't do too bad on the size in that sense. Yeah, just sounded like they're just going about their business and nobody's really paying any attention. That's kind of what I was going for. Let's see if we get the artist's approval. She said that's cool. All right, that's it for this one. If you enjoyed it, thanks for hanging out. If you didn't enjoy it, Why'd you stay so long? I'll see you on the next time. The next one, that is. Peace out.